Philip II was born in the province of Arabia Petraea, likely in the city of Bostra, modern-day Syria. His family belonged to the equestrian class, which was one tier below the senatorial aristocracy, yet Philip's career would rise to imperial heights. His father, Philip III, Philip the Arab, was a distinguished military officer and later became emperor himself in 244 AD. The family's military background was key to Philip's early rise within the Roman imperial structure. In 244 AD, Emperor Gordian III, a relatively young and inexperienced ruler, was engaged in a war with the Sassanid Empire. The war proved disastrous for Rome, and during a campaign in Mesopotamia, Gordian III's forces were defeated by the Sassanid king Shapur I. Amidst the chaos of the campaign and internal unrest, Gordian III was killed, and Philip I was proclaimed emperor by his troops. This move marked the beginning of the Philip dynasty, as Philip III made his son, Philip II, co-emperor shortly afterward, appointing him as his successor. Philip II's reign as emperor was brief, lasting from 247 to 249 AD. At the time of his ascension, Philip II was a mere child, likely around 10 years old. His reign was thus dominated by his father Philip I, who acted as regent, making all the important decisions of the empire. During this period, Philip II's role was largely ceremonial, and he was portrayed as a figurehead rather than an active ruler. This arrangement was typical of Roman imperial politics, where young emperors often depended heavily on their regents or military leaders to guide them through governance. The reign of Philip III was characterized by efforts to stabilize the Roman Empire after the turmoil caused by Gordian III's death. Philip I negotiated a peace treaty with Shapur I, ending the disastrous war with the Sassanid Empire. This peace deal allowed for a brief period of relative calm on the Eastern Front. Domestically, Philip I attempted to consolidate power by addressing internal conflicts, including the issues of military discontent and political rivalries that had plagued the empire during the preceding decades. Despite these efforts, the Roman Empire in the 3rd century was still grappling with numerous crises, including military uprisings, economic difficulties, and challenges to imperial authority from various regions of the empire. Philip I's administration was unable to fully resolve these issues, and tensions began to rise between him and the Roman army. In 249 AD, the Roman Empire faced a growing crisis. Military dissatisfaction with Philip I's leadership reached a breaking point when the commander Decius, a highly respected general, led a revolt against the emperor. The mutiny was driven by dissatisfaction with Philip I's policies, especially his inability to manage the military's demands during a time of external threats and internal unrest. Decius was proclaimed emperor by his troops and a full-scale civil war broke out. Philip III attempted to confront the forces of Decius, but his army was defeated. Ultimately, Philip III was killed in the battle, and Decius took the throne, ending the brief reign of the Philip dynasty. As a result, Philip II was deposed along with his father. Sources suggest that Philip II was likely executed shortly after his father's death, although the exact circumstances of his death remain unclear. Some accounts even suggest that he may have been murdered or died under mysterious circumstances as Decius secured his hold on power. Although Philip II's reign was short and largely overshadowed by his father's political maneuverings and the subsequent rebellion of Decius, his time as emperor marked the final chapter in the Philip dynasty's brief rule over Rome. The rise of Decius and the fall of the Philip family reflected the broader instability and shifting allegiances within the Roman Empire during the 3rd century. The 3rd century was a period of near-constant crisis for the Roman Empire, characterized by a series of short-lived emperors, military insurrections, and foreign invasions. The crisis of the 3rd century, as this period is known, saw the empire fractured into multiple regions and plagued by civil war, economic collapse, and invasions from outside powers. While Philip II's reign was too brief to have a lasting impact on these larger developments, his life provides a glimpse into the fragility of imperial rule in this turbulent era. Philip II's legacy is minimal, as he was little more than a child ruler and figurehead during a time of great political upheaval. His reign was overshadowed by his father's leadership, the military challenges facing Rome, and the ultimate rise of Decius. However, the downfall of the Philip dynasty and the return of military power to the empire under Decius marked another turning point in the Roman Empire's ongoing struggle for stability. In conclusion, Philip II's reign, though brief and marked by external and internal strife, illustrates the instability that plagued the Roman Empire in the 3rd century AD. His story reflects the complexity of imperial politics during this time, where young emperors were often at the mercy of the military and powerful generals, and where civil war and rebellion were common. Despite his limited influence, Philip II's life remains a small but significant footnote in the history of the Roman Empire during its most challenging period.